All right, guys, our next guest is one of the world's most renowned sports nutritionists, working with the biggest names in MMA. I'm talking about guys like Conor McGregor, guys like Daniel Cormier. George Lockhart, welcome for the first time to Submission Radio. It's great to have you on the program, man.
I appreciate you guys, man. It's awesome to be here.
It is our pleasure, man, and it's been a long time coming having you on this program. So let's jump into it, George. You obviously spoke about wanting to come out of retirement for one fight. Tell us, why did you decide to come out of retirement? Why is now the right time? And why is Mike Dolce the one person that you want to fight when you come back in August?
Well, I don't care who I fight. Honestly, they asked me if I could fight anybody, who would be, and it would be Dolce. You know what I mean? When I started this company, I just had too much going on. I loved fighting, but I just couldn't get everything that I couldn't give it everything that it needed. Now that the company's grown so much, I actually have the time to do it. I always say I have one left in the tank. I want to get that last one out, man, and go out on top. Just win, lose, or draw. I just know I gave it everything that I had. I gave 100% to the camp. My head's right. I got the time to do it, and I have the time to get in fight shape and stuff like that. But, as for Dolce, man, the guy is just he's just a lying coward, and I was hoping that, maybe you take the fight, we could hash out the beef, but obviously from the podcast yesterday, that's not going to happen. He's going to continue to lie, continue to just, do what he does, talk about himself.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because he was on Ariel Helwani's show yesterday, and he made quite a few claims that we want to give you a chance to address. He called you zero integrity, George, on his interview with Ariel, and he said that at some point you offered him 50% of your business if Mike lets you use his name for your products. Can you take us into exactly what really happened?
Yeah. When I first got started, when I was coming up, he was the big name. He was the big guy on campus. And I was like, well, man, I'm horrible at marketing, in the military, if you're like, man, I'm the best in the world, I'm this, I'm that, people are going to tell you to shut the hell up, it's just not the place for it, and getting out, I was horrible at it, just because just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you can sell it. And Dolce is very good at selling. Like I said, the guy loves to talk about himself. And I was like, well, this would be a great partnership. I talked to him on the phone, everything went well. I emailed him, I was like, hey, yeah, man, let's do this together. Let's go into this together. And then I never got a response. I actually never actually looked into the guy's nutrition. I figured, I think like a lot of people figure his nutrition's on point. And I saw a couple of his books, man. I mean, if you guys got 5 minutes, you guys go ahead and read those things. Doesn't take a whole lot. There's not a lot of information in it. It's just basically cutting calories, not a whole lot of science in there. And then over the years, I just kind of seen the way his personality was. And that's kind of where the beef started, like I have never said anything about his life. I've never, talked to him about his character or anything like that. But, as of late, he's attacked not only myself, but, certain people that work for us, it's going to be like Ian Larios. Anybody that's ever met that kid, if you don't like Ian Larios, you don't have a soul. He's just like one of the best people in the world, man. He just got back from a couple of fights. Dolce saying that we're going out of business. Half the people that are on the Ariel Helwani show, we just got done working with, I think it was actually more than half, in the last couple of fights, we work with Israel, we work with Dustin Poirier, we work with Max Holloway, obviously we have Conor, we got Frankie Edgar, I don't know where he's getting these, we work more on one card than he would in an entire year. So, in terms of us going out of business or the fact that I'm fighting because we're failing, I think he's misinformed.
He kind of spoke about it as if, when the UFC sees you guys managing, or not managing, but managing the nutrition of one of their fighters in the main event, they may get nervous. But from what you're saying, it's quite the opposite because you're working with so many of the fighters, correct?
Yeah, we have a great relationship with the people in the UFC, man. They see us coming with our rehydration at the fights and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh man, thank God." Well, people hitting us up and saying, "Man, we love it when you work with people because we know that they're going to be safe." And that's the biggest thing. We're always checking, make sure we're checking the vitals of these individuals. We make sure that we know the signs when somebody's like, hey, we got to call this thing. And we don't have 100% rate. We unlike Dolce, like we'll take fighters last moment. 3 days out. We've taken fighters 3 days out, knowing that they're not going to make weight. But I'll tell you, it's kind of a catch-22. We can say, hey, we have a 100% track record, but then that a fighter's going to try and make that weight no matter what. And there's not going to be anybody that actually understands when the cut should be stopped. And that's what we've done plenty of times. You're like, hey, man, this is as far as this person can go. At this point, you're going to start have a negative impact on his not just his career, but his overall health.
How does it make you feel to hear him say it when he talks about some of your fighters missing weight, that you have the worst record for people missing weight, and fighters are saying that, I'm dying or I'm going to die, and sort of putting you in that category when discussing some of your previous clients like Khabib and Chiesa and Max Holloway and Yoel Romero? How does that make you feel to hear Mike say that kind of stuff?
Man, it's expected of him, man. It is. And it's funny because you see all the people that he talks about that they continue to work with us. It's kind of funny how that works out. I don't get why that would happen. And there's a lot of things that we as a company do not do. No matter what, we will never put anybody's business on social media, on any of the interviews, like how a cut went. We're not going to be like, oh, well, it was their fault, because you hire us for a job, and number one is safety. Number two is obviously making weight and performing at the best of your capabilities. And that's what we want to make sure we do. And if you actually look at the cold hard facts, like BJ Penn. Like BJ Penn worked with Dolce. He went on freaking podcast wanting to kick his butt. Rampage Jackson, he disliked him as well. And he talked about Mike Chiesa. When Mike Chiesa found out that, I called out Dolce, he's like, dude, give me tickets. Like, everybody wants me to see it, like, put a beat on this guy, because the guy literally all he does is talk about himself.
Really?
And he's
so
a joke.
Michael Chiesa heard about this, and he wanted in on the show when he heard that, maybe you guys might fight.
Yeah, Chiesa loves me and Leith. Me and Leith have been there for these hard cuts. Chiesa's a huge man, like he's just a huge dude. And when he was cutting down to 155, man, the guy was just an absolute gangster. And the thing is, we were there to make sure it was as safe as possible. And he knew that genuine concern that we have for him. We genuinely care about this guy, and he knows that. And then, Mike Dolce, all he does is like, oh, this is a marketing tool, and where the fighters actually love us.
I mean, one of the things that he did bring up, and he sort of kept focusing on it, is your relationship with Ian Kidd. He said that after things didn't go well between you and him business-wise, he suggested that you got Ian Kidd to write a number of pieces about how Dolce didn't know what he was doing, and that those were somehow inspired by the fact that things didn't work out between you and him. Can you just sort of shed a bit of light about those sort of allegations that he made on Ariel's show?
Yeah, I mean, first off, that he brings up shit like that. The guy did, I did podcasts with this guy and shit like that. Like, how the hell am I supposed to know that this guy does anything? The fact that he correlates with that's when he kind of, he crossed the line on things. Like, this guy, he'll find anything, you know what I mean? And he wants me to go and apologize. Apologize for what? For knowing somebody that turned out to be a fucking dirtball? You know what I'm saying? Like, the pieces that he's talking about, there was one piece that I did, and it came out as bro science. And I was interviewed, and basically I just went over all my science. And if you look up that actual that interview on Bloody Elbow, you see the comments. People are like, "Wow, this guy actually knows what the hell he's talking about." And everybody was blown away. There was nothing that I said that was incorrect about Dolce. When I say that, he never has said anything that was mind blowing when it comes to weight cutting. His whole thing is eat earth-grown nutrients. And then he talks about his day. Like, I woke up at this time and I did this and I did that. It's like, man, dude, maybe your business isn't doing so well. Maybe you have a little bit too much time on your hands.
He also tried to suggest that when you stopped working with Chris Cyborg and Ray Borg, that sort of sparked Ian Kidd writing some negative articles about that. I just want to clear that up. Did you have anything to do with Ian writing any negative articles about your ex-clients?
Hell no, man. And dude, I put that one on my son. Like, why the hell would I want to do that? See, I'm not like Dolce. Like I've said before, when what's his name, Johnny Hendricks, he missed weight. Dude, Dolce jumped on that as a marketing tool. Like, oh, this guy didn't use the Dolce diet, so he missed weight. Like, why would you do that? Me and Chris, we're still friends. Like Chris never was like, dude, fuck George or, screw George, like Dolce's past clients. And if you look at Dolce's past clients, man, like you look at freaking Thiago Alves, you look at Kelvin Gastelum, you look at all these people that he's worked, guess who they work with? They work with us now, If you were so great, and here's the thing when it comes to success, I always tell this to my wife, dude, if the guy comes up to you and he's like, dude, I'm a good guy, he's probably not a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Dolce's always like, I got all this money. Not only does it make you sound like a dirtball, but you know what, man? Bill Gates isn't going all over the place talking about how rich he is. You know why? Because everybody freaking knows how much money he's got. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry, the guy rubs me the wrong way.
No, absolutely, Judge. We just want to let you have your chance to sort of respond to some of the things that he said, just so everybody knows what's really going on. Just finally on Ian, as we wrap up on that, a lot of people would be wondering, what is your current relationship with him after everything that happened? Do you have any relationship with him? Do you have any communication with him? Just to be clear.
Hell no, man. No, fuck no. That's a huge fuck no. Like, number one, dude, I got a little boy. I got 2 stepdaughters. If I had any fucking inclination about any of that, man, like I'd probably put my boot in his ass. So, anybody that knows me would know that, and anybody that correlates me with that kind of shit is just, you're just a piece of crap in my opinion.
Just sort of, on the fight, you did mention that you don't think that fight will happen now. What is it that leads you to believe that it might not happen? Is it the $500,000 purse? Is it sort of Dolce? Because Dolce was saying that he's ready to fight now. He doesn't want to wait till August, and he was sort of criticizing you for sort of, saying that you're not in shape to fight him right now.
Of course, no. He's I'm in great shape. I'm amazing. I'm a nutrition guru. Like, dude, I call myself the food dude. He literally just put down an email. He put out an email to all the people that follow the Dolce diet. And it was called the tip of the month. And the tip of the month was, watch me slam George Lockhart. That literally is the tip of the month to them. He's like, and I'm sitting here like, wow, man, I can't believe that people freaking follow this guy, man. It blows my mind. But yeah, he's going to be like, oh, I'm in shape all the time. I'm in perfect condition. Well, then put up or shut up, dude. Like, you want to fight now? I'll fucking fight you now. I don't care. And if he wants to do bare knuckle boxing, I will 100%. I will bare knuckle box. I will make his face look like damn meat after I'm done with him. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, I think, honestly, it's so just disrespectful to the fighters. You got people like Artem. We work with Artem for the bare knuckle fighting, dude. Artem doesn't make $500,000. Like, dude, Dolce's fight record, the only thing worse than Dolce's fight record is his fight nutrition. The guy's 5'10", for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? And you want them to pay you $500,000? What it is you're a coward, and you know that bare knuckle boxing isn't going to pay you $500,000. If they do, I'll tell you what, I'll fight 100% for free. They don't have to pay me a dime, not a single dime. And if Dolce wins, you guys can pay the freaking $500,000 to Dolce. If he loses, he doesn't get shit.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of stakes right there. I was going to say, what do you think sort of the realistic, enticing offer? Like, if this fight were to happen, what do you think the realistic scenario would be under what circumstances? And the ideal circumstances for you as well, George? What would you like to see happen?
Oh, dude, I honestly, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, if, where I come from, and you talk about the stuff he talked about with me, you know what I'm saying? I take him out in the back alley and beat the living piss out of him. But the truth is, he's the kind of guy that would talk smack. He's a keyboard warrior, 100%. He's a coward. And if anything, he'd be like, oh, I was assaulted. I was this and that. And, dude, I'm not the kind of person to put hands on somebody, but I'm also not the kind of person to bring stuff up like that. So, like, hey, you know what? You're a fighter. I'm a fighter. Dude, I'm not coming out of retirement just to fight Dolce. I loved fighting. You know what I mean? I loved it, and that was a big part of who I was for a very long time. So for him, like, if ultimate scenario, if he wants to do MMA, we'll do MMA. If he wants to do bare knuckle boxing, do bare knuckle boxing. Like we were willing to offer him basic level entry UFC fight pay. We're willing to go that high. And then this stuff, 500,000, he knows that nobody's going to take that, man. He knows that. Everybody knows that.
And just on the fight, I mean, you mentioned before that in the bare knuckle boxing match, you'd sort of mark him up. But how do you see a fight between you two going when you think about the scenario and how it plays out?
What do I think about? Man, well, I mean, honestly, like, I believe that I would go in there and I would just beat the living piss out of him. I think he's a coward. Man, I truly believe that the guy is a coward. You come at him like a ball of fury, and I think he would just cower down and hit the fetal position.
If this Mike Dolce fight doesn't happen, I was going to say, is there anybody else that sort of stands out to you? Are you just kind of, for you, it's more about getting back in there and just having at least one more fight and I guess continuing your career sort of where you left off?
Yeah, no, I just want one more fight. If it's not Dolce, whoever it is, I'm totally cool with that, man. I didn't have like the craziest, awesome, the best career, but like my last 4 fights, I lost 3 out of the 4. I was going through like a nasty divorce and stuff like that, so I wasn't on the top of my game. And I just want, like one last full training camp. And there's so many reasons I want to do this, like going through it. And, there's so many times you talk to fighters and it's like you remember, but you kind of forget, it's been 5-6 years, and I'd like to kind of share that with them. You know what I mean? So like, okay, I remember what you're going through. I know what you're thinking. You can't sleep this night because your heart rate starts going up. This is what we need to do. This ways me to attack it. And then the cut itself. My team's going to be there doing the cut for me. I think they're a little bit too excited for that, in my opinion. But it'll be good. So I think it'll help on all aspects. Mental, physical, and spiritually. It'll just, I like to put myself in positions where I'm just constantly growing.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine being around fighters all the time, helping with their weight cut, it kind of, opens up something inside you. But I was going to say, you've spoken about how you, John Kavanagh's training methods really resonated with you over in Dublin in SBG. I was just wondering, do you think you might train with Kavanagh if you do come back? And also, what was it about their camp that sort of resonated with you so much?
Man, Kavanaugh is just he's just one of those guys. Like there's so many amazing coaches. I've gotten to I didn't get to train with Wink and stuff like that, but I've got to train out of Kings. I've hung out with Faraz a lot, and it's something that's funny that all the coaches have in common. That they're just amazing mentors and they're just amazing people. You know what I mean? As a fighter. As a fight coach, I think it's a lot of technique, but it's also a lot of psychology. Being able to calm a fighter down, being able to relax that individual, and it's just like me and John clicked. And there was a lot of things that he says that do resonate with me. And it's funny, I'm not even fighting, but the Mayweather camp and the the Khabib camp, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that he just helped me out within life, And I was like, man, having this individual as a coach or in your corner or something like that would be amazing.
I mean, speaking of SBG and Conor McGregor, we thought he'd be returning in July. Now it looks like it's going to be a little bit later. Tell us, has this camp been in touch with you? And from what kind of shape is he in from what you currently get in terms of the information from his camp?
Well, we have a chef with him that goes year round. And the first thing that we made sure of when he started working with it is like, hey, if you hear anything, you didn't hear anything. Like I don't even want to know. I stay out of because there's like if I know any information and it leaks out, man, I'm in a world of hurt. So I stay out of that as much as possible.
Well, let us ask you this, because for a long time people spoke about Conor McGregor going back to featherweight. He spoke a lot about how he could make the weight, and I mean, from where we're sitting, that doesn't look realistic in any way, just in terms of the fights that make sense and obviously how much they would have to pay him for that. But in your opinion, do you think Conor McGregor could still make featherweight? Could he do it safely? And do you think how much do you think it would hinder his performance if he had to go down to that weight potentially?
I mean, I truly believe that Conor could do it. Without performance suffering. The camp would have to be changed up and things like that. But the thing about him, man, is you tell him to do something and he gets it done. He's very, very disciplined. So it's kind of like a nutritionist's dream. The guy's super disciplined and, he just, does whatever's necessary. So getting down to 145, I don't think would be a problem. It just definitely wouldn't be like a last minute fight, which I don't ever see happening with Conor.
How long do you think you would need to get him down to 145? And without revealing all your secrets, is it a case of just calorie restriction, or is it a little bit more special that sort of, getting a guy down that low when he, typically has been fighting 155 lately?
Well, when anytime I start talking nutrition, I always say it's like talking about religion. If somebody has a difference of opinion and you're about to get slammed, so I'm going to go about this one as openly as possible. But in terms of calorie restriction, a calorie is a measurement of heat, and it's a measurement of energy. So to start a camp, to start removing calories, that just means it's to removing energy. And the whole purpose of a camp isn't to make weight. The purpose of a fight camp is to get better at fighting. And I think a lot of people forget that. So we don't restrict calories. We do manipulate macronutrients, like just if I eat 100 calories of protein, I eat 100 calories of carbohydrates. My body doesn't process them the same. They have different thermogenic effects. They have different metabolic needs just to digest that actual food. So a calorie is not just necessarily a calorie. We use the old saying, give the body what it needs when it needs it. When he's aerobic, he has more fats. When he's anaerobic, he has more carbohydrates. And the thing about Conor is he's constantly lean. He's an anomaly in terms of weight because working with him for the past, 3 years, his weight, every time I show up for a fight camp, it's within 2 to 3 pounds, which is nuts. Most people, over the years start gaining and things like that, whereas Conor stays around the same all the time.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, George, we're excited to see what happens next with this fight. Guys, make sure to follow George on Twitter at LockLoaded on Twitter, and of course fitnessvt.com for all your information on how you can get some of this great information and lose some weight working with George Lockhart. George, we can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks so much for coming on to Submission Radio and sharing some knowledge with us and sharing some truth on what Mike said. It was a real honor.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks so much.